Nimtza Hore Gachlo Nerfa Eglo. 47 on the bottom. Nimtza Hore Gachlo Nerfa Eglo. They found the murderer before they decapitated the calf. Takes it to there. So you let the animal is let to graze with the regular herd. Mishanerfo Eglo, what about they already decapitated it? Tikovir Bimkomo. Shalsofik Bosa, it's buried on, it's considered Isur HaNoi, not permitted benefit from it. Mitchilosa Kipro Sveiko V'holcholo, because since initially it's unclear what's going to be, so therefore, since when they decapitated it wasn't clear whether they can locate the murderer or not, therefore it takes on a forbidden status. Nerfa Eglo V'achach Nimtzo Horek. What about they decapitated and then they found the murderer? Harezi Horek, the man has to be killed. You'd say, well, when they bring the Eglah roof, what do they say? Kaper. Kaper Yisrael. There's kapora, so maybe the murder is atoned. So Mercer will say, no, murder is not atoned. Klaus shows atoned.
Right.
But the murder, when they find him, he's going to be put to death. The Gemara is going to bring a pasuk. What about if you know who the murderer is? Then you don't bring Eglah Rufa. It's only if you haven't located the murderer. Yeah. A single witness normally is not believed. Let's say one witness says, I know, I saw the murderer. The other one contradicts and says, no, you couldn't, you were with me, how did you see him? A woman says, I saw the murderer. A woman's not normally qualified to testify under any circumstance. And the other one says, no, you did not see. Then you bring the Eglah Rufa, neither are believed, but it seems, why are they not believed? Because it's contradictory. But let's say it would have been one alone. It seems to be you would not bring the Eglah Rufa. Let's say one says I saw the murderer, and nobody contradicts it. Good. You would not bring the Eglah Rufa, even though normally one single witness is not normally believed. The Gemara says, a single witness says I saw the murderer, and two witnesses say you did not see. So you always believe because you believe 2 to 1. One is considered irrelevant. Orphan, you bring the Eglah Rufa, you decapitate it. What happens? 2 said we saw it, and 1 says you did not see it. 1 means nothing, presence of 2. Of course, then you don't bring it because we know factually. No, we don't. Even though they don't remember who it is, but we said we saw the murderer. It's only if the murder was never known, right? Once there was an increase of murderers, murder was rampant. Botla Eglah Rufa. It stopped. They stopped. Why? So Rashi explains because when you had people, let's say, were gangsters, they were murderers. Mm-hmm. If a person was killed, you knew exactly which people were the one who did the murder. So we know. So therefore, it's always you know who the murderers are. Mishabo Eliezer ben Dinoi Uschina ben Prisha Hoyanikro. I'm not sure how to read this. 1 second. Lamed. Yep. Chazul the Krosa ben Aratzchon. This person, they called him the China ben Prisha. They used to call him Ben. He's the son of the murderer. How does he explain it over here? Just that little piece.
Eliezer ben Dinai was a well-known murderer in Mishnaic times.
Yeah.
He was notoriety. He adopted the alias China ben Prisha.
So
people then stopped referring to him by name and simply called him the murderer's son.
The murderer's son. Okay.
There's an alternate opinion says they were 2 separate people.
Right. Misharabah Nafim, when adultery, promiscuity became very rampant, Poskan Maimamorim, they started giving the sota to drink the water. Because people, they were all, the Gemara quoted Psukim. Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai Hifsikon. And it was Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai who stopped. Shenemar, Lo Efkor al Benosechem. I will not acknowledge your daughters, Kisiv Neno, because they commit znus, they commit acts of licentiousness. Val Kalosechem Kisno Feno. And your daughters-in-law, they commit adultery, Kihem. Mishmeis Yosef ben Yoazeh Shtrev Yosef ben Yochanan Ishu Shalayim Botlo Heshkolos. Heshkolos means a person who's the great dimensional person. He's totally multi-dimensional in Torah. When these 2 individuals passed away, the Bale Eshkolos. The word Eshkol means they contain everything. Shnemein Eshkol Lechol Bechura Osa Nafshi. Okay, Bechura Osa Nafshi Chof Ifso. Alai lik yusi be'asvei kaitz ba'odos b'tzir in eshkol lechol b'chura ivsa nafshi. Okay? So when these two individuals, that was the end of the era. Yochanan Kohen Gadol heavier hodos hamasir. If a person didn't distribute the various tithes, you have to say it's called vidi meiser, right? The beginning of the end of the third year, beginning of the fourth year, he stopped it. Afu bitel es ma'orim v'sanokvim. Also, he stopped. So what's this? Raj, 1 second. Rashi. Gemara will explain what it is. Okay. Until his time, they would be a patish. There would be physical labor as noise. And he stopped it. So Rashi says, there were blacksmiths who would work on Cholamoid. They work on Cholamoid. So normally, if a dover over if something is a loss, you're permitted to do it on Cholamoid. But what about if people don't know that? So you do something on the QT. So we say it doesn't disrupt the. But what happens? People hear the blacksmith shop going continuously. Right. The people know whether it's a dover oven, not a dover oven. They say, look, it's business as usual. As a result of that, he stopped it. I feel dover oven. Shekol and mashal nerchot vein akol yodi shil dover oven. People don't know, and they'll come to violate the cholamoid. Okay. At one time, Ad Yomov, he says, he's the one who decreed, who enacted that if you purchase grain from an Amoretz, you treat it as if it was never tithed. Mm-hmm. Until then, you had to ask, did you tithe it? Now, you buy it from an Amoretz, the presumption is you treat it as if it was not tithed. It has to be tithed. So how do we know that if they decapitated the calf, then you found the murder? How do we know he's not exempt? Because it says the word kapora, Talmud lo oretz lo yuchup evedam, asher shofach bo. The land will not be atoned for the blood that was shed. Ki im bedam shofcho. The only way you could atone it, you have to shed the blood of the murderer. The one who shed the blood, his blood must be shed. Arachor eidachor omer reisi. Sorry, a single witness says, I saw the murderer. Taimo temachish. So what's the inference in the Mishnah? Because his testimony is countered. One says reisi, the other one says lo reiso. Holo machish, but it seems to be good if he would have been contradicted. Eidachod mehemen. Even a single witness would be believed, and you would not bring the Egla Rufa. For Egla Rufa, one witness is sufficient to prevent the process from taking place.
Does that mean also that they do execute?
No, it has nothing to do with executing murder.
Things are separate, so you
Two
might
separate.
not bring the Egla Rufa.
No, whenever you find a murderer, he'll be convicted. Two witnesses that he was forewarned. Otherwise, you can't kill him. Even if you find witnesses, you can't kill the murderer unless he was forewarned. Okay. Here we're speaking about normally one witness means nothing. We find a corpse. If you totally give no value to testimony of a single witness, it's like there's no witness. So how do we know that you give some degree of value to a single witness? The quote, right? How do we know? Tanu Rabbanan. It says lo noda miko. It says nobody knows who smote him. So it seems to be nobody, but it seems to be ha noda miko afilu echod b'sofa olam. Even if there's one wherever he may be, that's sufficient to cancel the process. Lo yorfim. Rekiva omi minayla sanhedrin shoro. The Sanhedrin saw somebody commit murder, but they don't recognize the murderer. They don't recognize who he is. They can't locate him. Orphan, that we don't decapitate it. The calf Talmud Loma veinenu lo. They said, what did the Zakanim say? Our eyes did not see. But if their eyes saw, although they can't locate the person, that's enough reason that you don't have what? You don't have Degla Rufa. If we say a single witness is believed, now we have a problem. A single witness says, I saw the murder. Then another witness counters him. We say they cancel each other out. But the Gemara asks, if a single witness has the status of two, the second one who says you did not see is like 1 against 2. Mm-hmm. And a single witness doesn't stand in the presence of 2 because we give the credibility of 1 like 2. That's the Gemara's question. So if we give credence to the first one, the second one is only 1. How could he counter him? Ula had said, whenever the Torah believes a single witness, he has the credibility of 2. So the one who counters him, it's like 1 going against 2. So why does the Mishnah say that if he's contradicted by 1, you do believe the Egla Rufa, Omar loch Ula. So Ula answers, Tani lohi orphan. Just the opposite. You say lohi orphan. You do not. The Mishnah should not read they would decapitate, but rather the Mishnah should read you do not decapitate. Because since the first one has the credibility of two, the second one totally is overridden. The Mishnah should read they did not decapitate it. Reb Chia argues, says no. The text of the Mishnah reads you do decap. That means they cancel one another out. So the Gemara asks a question, Reb Chia kasha to Ula, but how do we reconcile Ula's statement? Ula says whenever the Torah gives credibility to the one, it's equivalent of two. So the one who counters the one, it's like one against two. Lokash kam vasach kam b'zeh. Hear this? There's a difference. If they come together at the same time, which the first testimony was not accepted, and the second one testifies immediately within Tochid Dibur of the first, so the first one never took on the status of two. When do we say one is the equivalent? If one comes to testify, and we accept his testimony, so he's established this two. Now a single one comes to counter it, we ignore him. But what happens if they showed up simultaneously in court? They came together, and we hear both what they both have to say, then they cancel one another out. That's how Reb Chia reconciled it. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, a single witness says, I saw the murderer, and two say you did not see. So what does the Mishnah say? It says Hoy Orphin. And then you do decapitate it, because it's two against one, so you ignore the testimony of the single one. But it seems to be one against one. Even if one had said it independent of the second one, you would not. It's a contradiction. It says two saying you did not see, one says I did see. So it seems only then do you decapitate it. But if it would be the other way, you would not. Tufted Reb Chia. So it seems that Reb Chia is refuted. So you see, we don't differentiate whether it's vasachas or not vasachas. Utamer, someone asks, and this is according to your Avis, let's say the conclusion is Shnayim Omrim Re'inu. If two witnesses would say, we saw the murderer. Ve'echad Omer, ve'ed echad Omer lo reason. And the single witness would say, they did not see. So we have two against one. Two witnesses say, we saw, one says he did not see. So one doesn't stand in presence of two. It says in the Mishnah, lo orphin, which makes sense, right? Because they said, we saw. Two witnesses said, we saw. But it seems to be, hochad v'chad, hoy orphin. But if we won against one, you would. We just finished saying that that when you have one against one, the one has credibility. Elamastisin kula psuli edus. We're speaking about not kosher witnesses. When do we say that one has the credibility of two? If he's a kosher witness, but he's only a single witness. What about if you have women? A woman is not a qualified witness. Let's say a woman would say, I saw. She's not. Elamastis kula b'psuli edus. The Mishnah is speaking about psuli edus. They're not qualified to testify under normal circumstances. The Oma kol mokshe mina Torah erechod holach acharov deus. Whenever Torah says you believe a single witness, then you go after majority. You hear this? If it's a qualified witness, one is two. What about one is two? You only have women who are not qualified, and let's say you have three women testifying against two women. Then you go after majority. Okay, majority prevails. You go after rov deus. Vasu shtei noshim, and they said two women are kish echod. Two women is like a single man. Kishnei anoshim bish echod. So it's like, so what are you talking about? It's like two against one. He said, let's say initially a single witness, male came, noshim, and then 100 women come afterwards. So what are they? So the one is equivalent of two credible witnesses. So you could have 100 women come afterwards. What do? We totally ignore them. The woman came first. And then the single woman. Whenever Torah believes a single witness, let's say women. So let's say women come. Let's say you have two women testifying against a single witness. Where they came simultaneously, ki palga palga domi. Right? It's like 50-50. V'tarti psuli edus lomali. What do we have to have? Give two cases. We have two cases of psuli edus. Maybe when do we go after the majority? That's when we be machmir. Okay. Mishnah Rabbah wrote, it says when there was an increase of murderers, they stopped the egel harufa. because they basically knew who the murderers were. Torabon Mishrobu Harotzchonim Botlag La Rufa the Fishenu Bo Elo Ala Sofek. Right? Because why? Because you only bring it because you don't know who the murderer is. But if you want to know, if you find somebody dead, the mafia definitely killed him. Once you know the mafia killed him, so you know exactly where it came from. Mishrobu Harotzchonim Begolui. But when it became public knowledge, it's not people unabashed who would commit murder. It's not a person killed on the QT and you found the corpse. Openly they would go and they would murder people. It's begolu. It was open. Whatever, when people began to commit adultery and incest, it says they stopped to give the mayim morim. A woman wasn't given the water. Turn around. It says v'nika mi ovon. It says, let's say a woman, she becomes a suspected adulteress, and the husband wants to give it a drink. Let's say the husband himself is not so pure. He himself has illicit relationships. The water will not check out the wife. Because it says, V'niko ishmi ovon. If the husband is pure from sin in this area, then the water works. But if he himself is no tzaddik, and we'll see, he doesn't even have to commit adultery. He has illicit relationships. The water will not work on his behalf. V'niko ishmi ovon, bizmat she'ishmi nukami ovon, amayim botkim. If he's cleansed from sin, then the water will verify whether his wife was an adulteress or not. Okay? Both kids ishto. Eino ishim nukami oven, but if the husband is not pure from sin, einamayim both kids ishto. The water will not. Then because of Omer, another pasuk, lo efkod al benosechem kises neno. I will not verify regarding your daughters when they have illicit relationships. What do we need the second pasuk? What is the second pasuk after the first pasuk? Chitema avon day ein the bnei udbante lo. What about he's pure, but in his family, his children don't behave properly, and now he has a question regarding his wife's behavior. It's not going to work. It's not only if he's not, even if he's clean of them, but if his children and his family they don't behave properly, the water will not. So the second pasuk says it's not only if he is, even if his children don't behave properly, the water is not going to verify. Toshma. Maybe it's only where the children commit adultery. What about if they just have illicit relationships? Is that enough reason to make the water ineffective? If you personally are what a makbid to behave, your behavior should be above reproach, then the water is going to bring about the miracle. When people became hedonists, right? This apsu hadirim, the laws became corrupted. So Rashi says, what's the reason? Rega. Rashi says over here. Nifsabsu adinim the mitoch she bali hano in matrichen atzben layin bedinu beiser veheter lahoras letzibur mitoch kach niskalk lemaseyim the kem shekain in lakodesh bonach. What happens? You have a rabbi, and somebody has a mishayla, and the guy, he spends a few hours on the golf green. He takes out, he has to drink his daily wine and this and that. He has like a pampered state. He doesn't apply himself properly. So when you ask him a shayla, he doesn't really research the question properly. So the psak he gives is not a proper ruling. So what interferes? Why isn't he fully committed to his profession? Because he's distracted. What's his distraction? He lives high in the hog. Yeah. So he says, Misharobo Baleano Nisabsu Adinim. The laws became corrupted, not the courts, the law. Because the research to come out with a proper halacha, it's not being researched sufficiently. Okay? And as a result, the people, they don't behave as proper Jews. They don't observe Shabbos properly. The kash, nothing is proper. They noach ba'olam. And then God says, I have no pleasure from this world. Jews aren't living as proper Jews. So what does Hashem do? He withdraws from the world. Misharobu roi poni bedin. Botel lo saguru. What about people, they favor one defendant over another? So what happens again? So there's no such thing as, the Torah says a judge is not permitted to be intimidated by any defendant. But let's say one defendant pays him off, or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
it becomes a problem. The court system becomes corrupted. Okay? Uposek lo sakir, uparku ol shemayim, v'nosa leim ol basav dam. What happens? They threw off the yoke of heaven, and what yoke is on them? The yoke of the mortal. Misharabu lochshe lechishos. You know what this is? According to Jewish law, we don't have lawyers. You have lawyers, lawyer knows the judge. He whisperings in the judge for his client. So automatically the judge favors his client over someone else's client. So what kind of judge is this?
Right.
The judge is not impartial. So he says, Misharabo lo shilachishis, when they had this intervention of judges, they're called orchi dayanim. Orch din in Hebrew is a lawyer. Lo shebedin, Rabba charonaf Yisrael. This increased Hashem's wrath on Klal Yisrael. V'nistalka shchina. And the Shekhinah removed it. So Shenemar, Bekerev Elokim Yishpot. It says, when God's present, that's when you have the judgment. What about if God removed himself? Because it's all corrupted?
Right.
There's no mishpat.
That becomes difficult.
Second. Misharabu Achrei Bitzom. Libam. Misharabu Achrei Bitzom. Libam Holech. Rabu Omen L'Ra Tov or L'Tov Ra. Yeah. There you go. Zion. Careful, Lakim Mishpot. Yeah. Misharabu Bitzom. Yeah. Achrei Bitzom Libam Holech. Where's the heart of the judge? Whoever paid him off. Bitzom is bribery. Achrei Bitzom Libam Holech. Rabu Omrim. So what happened? Rabu Omrim the Ra Tov and Tov Ra. People said evil is good and good is evil. Shemishabchin es Rishoim. So they praise the evil and they criticize the good ones. Ishrabu Omrim the Ra Tov and the Tov Ra. Rabu Hoy Hoy Ba'olam. When that increased, what happens? It became woe in the world. Because things are bad. You start praising the evil. The Chsiv Hoy Hoy Ba'u Parshat Tuva. It's woe. It's interesting. The Chofetz Chaim says, he speaks about, there's a negative commandment. You're not permitted to flatter a person. So he speaks about a case where a person speaks Lashon Hara, and you're present, and not only don't you criticize him because he's a wealthy man or he's an upstanding person in the community, you smile and you shake your head like you're agreeing with him, and sometimes you even throw in a few extra words to add some little fuel on the fire. So the Chofetz Chaim says, it's bad enough that you're not giving him musar, and you're in violation of Hochech Tochei Samsech. You're supposed to give your fellow rebuke when he does the wrong thing. On top of that, you praise him, and you say to him, what you're saying is correct. He should have been reprimanded. So that's what it's speaking. You call the Rishoyim special, and the tzaddikim, they're archaic Jews. So Hashem said, the Navi says, it's hoy hoy, it's woe. It's bad times. It's not going to be good. Misharobu Moshe Harok. Rabu Hayihirim V'nismatu Atalmidim. What's Moshe Harok? Rashi says, Marichan Harok Umidis Gaiva. That's something to do with the saliva. It's the way they move the saliva around in their mouths. Nismatu Kaimalon, similar Gasasaruach Ani Shel Torah. When people their whole behavior became arrogant and haughty, there were less Talmidim. Because if a person has the meter of arrogance, they have no relevance to Torah. Okay? V'atorah chozeres alomdeo. Machazeres ulai timsulim lomdeo. How does he add that? And he says, "V'Torah chozeres alom deo." How does he explain that? And the Torah goes back to those who study it. So Rashi says, maybe they'll go back. Machzeres ulai timsalom deo. How does he explain that?
There's a couple of explanations having to do with being pious and arrogant.
No, it says the ones who are with the saliva.
Oh, it says spitting a far distance in public is a sign of arrogance.
Okay.
It demonstrates lack of respect for others.
Yeah.
It indicates feelings of superiority.
Okay.
People are arrogant.
So as relatively less students.
Rather than students seeking out the Torah elsewhere, from our states of poverty and Torah knowledge.
Yeah, and then what it says, and Torah returns to those who study it. What does that mean?
Our Shah explains that Bryce refers to people who pretend to be very pious when in fact they are not. Such behavior is considered arrogant.
Okay, no, I understand that. But it concludes, Torah chozeres alom deo. Torah returns to those who study it. So Rashi says, maybe it'll go back to those who study it. I'm not sure what that means. Doesn't say anything on that. Okay. Mishrabu hayehirim. When people increased, the arrogant people, the haughty people, that hischilu b'nos Yisrael linose lihirim. Shein dorenu roer el lefonim. You know, people. What became the end? When people started to value arrogant people who are haughty, so the women started to marry those kinds of men. If that's what you value, that's right. If that's what you value, so who do you think the women are interested in marrying? They're interested in marrying those kinds of people. Okay? Because how does the generation judge it? Everything's superficiality. We said a person who's arrogant, even his family doesn't like it. They reject him. Shenemar, gever yoyer v'lo yinve afilu b'nov shelo. Yeah. Even his family cannot tolerate it. A man who's arrogant, even his family can't tolerate it. How could you tell me when they became arrogant, when it increased? That became the standard. People are attracted to that. We learned that a person is arrogant, even his family cannot tolerate it. This arrogant person. He says, Meikora koptzolei, l'sov mizal aleyu. Hear this? Initially, the woman's interested, but after she marries him, he treats her. Because of his arrogance, he mistreats her. That's when the family cannot tolerate, the wife cannot tolerate the husband any longer. Yeah. In Europe, it was a very serious problem. My Rishiva told me, even before, right after World War I, even women who came from observant families, they wouldn't want to marry Yeshiva Bachar. They saw him as, backward, archaic, uneducated, he can't earn a living, and they have no interest. So who did they marry? They married people who weren't 100% observant. And as a result of that, the families weren't raised. They didn't have observant families. The children weren't. Because the one who had dressed a certain way and with the style and everything, that itself was an indication he was literally had one foot out the door. The women are attracted to that. But after they married, what do they have? They have nothing. But here we're seeing arrogance the other way. The women are mistreated. The arrogance of the husband initially, he courts the woman's attracted to this. Once he has her in her clutches, then he starts mistreating her also. Mishirabu matile muloy al balad batim. Rabba hashochat. Vatoyis mishvat. What's moli muloy? Hadayoram batile muloy prakmachi shalem al balabatim yodim bitiv. Here what happens? The judges, they give some of their merchandise to people to invest for them, to take care of that. They have like a silent partnership. So now what happens? So now the judges have a vested interest to defend these people.
Right.
Of course, they have a conflict of interest. That's what it says. Now all of a sudden, bribery increases. Vatois mishpat, and it's a corruption of justice. Posket tovo, and God withdraws goodness from the world. The bracha is taken from this world. Mishrabu mikabloni tovoscho, umechaskani tovoscho. Rabu isha isha be'inov yaseh. Shvelim hugbu v'agvolim hushpelu. Umalchusa azlo v'navlo. What is this? Sharoa da'irim spirim loponim minei tova she'oslo ve'enim yisura shvelim hugbu she'n emes hagdol malaktanim enika ben gvo malchus shel yisho oslo v'navlo holechs misnavelus. What happens when people see that justice means nothing, that the people who are more powerful have control over the judges. So what happens? Yeah. Isha yosh be'enev yaseh. People start doing what they want because they see there's no rhyme or reason. Shvelim hugbu, the lower ones are empowered, and agvon hushpelu umalchus azla v'navla. The whole kingdom becomes totally starts deteriorating. Rashi says. She'ein emas hagdolim alaktanim ve'nika ben gvol l'shofel malchusim shel yisrael azla v'navlo holechs misnavelus. It becomes totally mishrabu tzari ayin. When people started to have the evil eye, people were envious of one another. Tzari ayin milohones acher mimamonim. Meaning they don't want other people to benefit from their assets. V'torfi teref, gazlonim, mamsei leiv min aniyim, rachim. People who are thieves, and they're hard-hearted, they don't have any mercy on the poor. You hear this? When the tzari ayin means they don't want to share their wealth with others. V'torfi teref. Teref means they actually victimize the poor. Rabba mamsei leiv. So people become hard-hardened, and they withdraw their hands from lending. You know, a person's not sensitive, you don't feel the other's pain, you don't lend. Pen. They're in violation of a Torah violation. When Nitiyas Garon, the women became long-necked. Women, they would walk in a certain posture which was very flirtatious. They had their necks up, and they would be sacrosanct. They wear all kinds of mascara on their eyes to beautify their eyes, and they would wink at the single men or other men. Robamayim morim. Yeah, there was a need for what? For this process to find out whether women committed adultery or not. El Shaposku, but factually it wasn't available. Why? Because if people stop behaving properly, the water means nothing. Mishrabu mekabli matonos nismato ayomim. You hear this? Then it's katzor sham. Once people were out to receive gifts, there's an expression: everybody's on the take. Everybody's looking to receive something. People's days were shortened and their years were shortened. The chsiv soni matonos yichya. It's interesting. It says two things: the days were lessened and the years were cut short. What's the difference between days lessened? What does he say over there? Nismatu ayomim v'niskatsu ashonim.
Should we go back to the Haggadah, that one has to do with the physical and the spiritual? Olam haba?
No.
His days of his life were full of bitterness and sorrow. Can't be considered.
So I understood. If a person's always looking to be given something,
Right.
you're wasting your time. Instead of fully investing in a day to be productive,
Right.
the day is consumed with, so the day is shortened. The potential of the day that you're able to be productive, it's whittled away with this nonsense. And ultimately, the person's life is cut short. That's because it says, Soni matonis yichya, that only the person who despises gifts extends his life.
Right.
These people, that's all they're looking for.
Right.
Okay. Mishrabu zachuche halev. Rabba Machlokes b'Yisrael. Who's Achuche Alev? She'em matin es oznom l'shmoa yofer mipi rabam v'somchen al binosen l'daktek shmosem. Hear this? Person gets a snippet from his Rebbe, but he doesn't listen to his Rebbe's explanation. It's like when I give a shir sometimes. You say thing, people they already inserted their own understanding of what I said, which is wrong. Wrong. So that's the zachuch elev. It's as a result of a little bit of arrogance. If you feel you know better, you just need a little bit of information. Whatever is lacking, I'll add myself. But you know, it's not correct. Your understanding is not correct. So Mishra Rabba was Yisrael. Now, of course, there's argument. You have your understanding. I have my understanding. But if you would have had the Masorah, where does the Masorah begin? The Masorah starts with the Rebbe, but they didn't listen to what the Rebbe had said. Mishrabel Talmidi Shamei V'Hillel Shloshim Shul Kol Tzorchan. Hear this? When there was an increase of the students Shammai Hillel, which they did not study sufficiently under Shammai and Hillel. So if you don't study sufficiently, everybody has their own idea of what it's about. Rabba Machloks B'Yisrael. Hear this? Torah became, arguments increased. V'nasa Torah Kishtei Torah. It became like two religions. Everybody had their own religion. Misharabba Makabli Tztoka Min Ovri Kochovim. Yeah? When Jews began accepting charity from Goyim, Ha Yisrael L'mayla V'hem L'mato. Yisrael L'fnim V'hem Locher. Again, Misharabba Makabli Tztoka Min Kochovim. Ha Yisrael L'mayla V'hem L'mato. Yisrael L'fnim V'hem L'mato. What is that? Kinoi. It's using it's saying it in a nice way. You know, we don't want to speak about the Jews in the negative. Whenever we speak about a curse comes upon our enemies, it means, God forbid, on the Jews. It means when Jews started to accept charity from Goyim, it's Ochen Vei. The Jews were on top, and the Goyim were, it means just the opposite. The Jews were downtrodden, and the Goyim are dictating the lives of the Jews. Yeah? Yisrael Lifnim V'hem Locher. The Jews are up front, and they're in the back. No, it's the other way. What about if you have no choice? You have no choice. The Jew has to beg from the Goy. I mean, that the Jew has to ask from the Goy is Ochen Vei. I mean, it's bad news. I think at one time a Jew would not ask. If a Jew had sufficient bitochon, he would not be a pikuach nefesh. We're not talking about a person. It's life and death. You ask anybody to help you out. We're talking about a Jew would go seek out help from a non-Jew. For a Jew, it's Chil Hashem. Why? Because what does the Goy say? Say the Jews. They don't turn to their own God, they come to us. It's Chil Hashem. As a result of that, what does Hashem say? What, you're disgracing me? You'll be disgraced. You'll be in the disgrace state. You'll be on the bottom of the totem pole, they're going to be on top. It says, when Yossi ben Yoezer and Yossi ben Chon Ishu Shalim, when they passed away, it was the end of the era. What were they called? They were called Ish Eshkolos. My Eshkolos, Amr Yehuda B'Shmuel, Isha Kolbo. It's nothing that they didn't possess. They knew everything. Rashi, Torah, Ba'mito, Ve'indofi, V'shikcho Machlokas. Hear this? They know Torah according to its true understanding. There's no there's no impurity in it. There's no forgetting. They retained it. And as a result of that, there's no machlokas. Of course, if you know the Masorah, you have it down pat, then what happens? Then, of course, there's no Hashem will give one Torah at Sinai. Right. So until then, everything was accurate. Everything was retained. Everything was elucidated. Good. Once they passed on, it wasn't that any longer. And that's when the machlokas started.
Do we know about when they lived?
They're members, they're mentioned in Pirkei Avos. Okay? Then it says, Yochanan go to Hebert Hodos HaMaser. When Yochanan came, there was no longer Vidui Meiser. My time, here, because people didn't give it properly. The Rachmon Amar Diyavi Leleviim. Who did you give Meiser to? You give it to the Levi. Vanad Koivinin Kohanim. Instead of giving it to the Leviim, they gave it to the Kohan. So Mar asks for Lodi Ashar Meisers. 1 second. He's saying something like this. When the Jews came back from Bavel, the Levim didn't want to come back. So Ezra, who led the second Commonwealth to rebuild Beis Mikdash, he penalized the Levim for not coming back. Is until now who received the Meiser? The Levi. A Kohen is also qualified because a Kohen is also called a Levi. But it's preferable because the Levi has nothing else but that. He penalized them. He said, because you don't come back, we give you a Meiser, we give to the Kohen. That's what Ezra said. What is the text of Vidu Meiser? The Gam Nosated Levi. I gave the Meiser, but they couldn't say it. Why couldn't they say? Because they didn't give it to the Levi, they gave it to the Kohen. So because they couldn't say that, they stopped saying Vidui Meiser. So the Gemara asks the question, what about the other parts? You give out the other tithes. You give Truma, and you give Meiser Oni, and Meiser Sheni. You have all the other part of it.
Right.
So that's the Gemara's question. V'lo di Ashar Meisers. What about the other tithes, the other 10%? Omrei Shlokish Kobai Shein Misvadal Meiser Rishon Shovei Misvadal Shar Meisers. Rishlok says if you don't see the full text of the confession, you don't say any of it. My time, Omra whole possible Kosef Tchilo. Since the Torah begins first with I've given to the Levi, Mechlal Dafrushi Avi Mafrishi. So evidently it means you gave it. V'Tanya Afu Bitel Zavidui. V'Gozal Demai. It says he nullified the vidui and he decreed the Demai. Fished Sholach. B'chol Gvul Yisrael v'Roshe Mafrishin El Truma Gedola Bilvad. Maserishin Masesheni. Mikzosin Masin. Mikzosin Ei Masin. We'll stop here.